From the makers of Wicked Zen and the Smell of Stars and Vomit, a new sound experience arises. WalloW is the new mind and time-twisting album from the Mountain King, released February 22nd, 2022 via Cursed Monk Records. Oh baby, I'm going to do my best to give you a review of this album, because putting it into words, exactly what this album is and how it sounds, is incredibly difficult. You say, oh, you should be able to do that. But when you've got to describe so many unique things, the unique makeup of this album, the word unique is thrown around a lot. I've just used it 3 times in a row there. But it's what constantly jumps to mind when you're listening to this album. It's stellar work from the Mountain King, but something that I think people will either absolutely adore in my case or absolutely hate in other people's cases. I think regardless, it's going to challenge you. And that makes for an absolutely fascinating listen, particularly when it starts with track 1 and immediately you're like, okay, I have to concentrate, I have to pay attention, I have to give the Mountain King all my time to follow along with this album and come up with some thoughts that accurately portray how it makes me feel. For me, it's a very special listen because I named The Smell of Stars and Vomit Volume 2 as the best album of 2021. So to say this new offering from the Mountain King is much anticipated is probably to underplay just how mind-blowing for me that last release was. The question is, going into it, naturally I'm thinking, was it a one-off? And can they capture lightning twice? So we begin with the mournful shoegaze melody of I, gbhblofficial. Now, the track titles, I'm going to stop here and say the track titles are very, very unusual. So reading them out is going to sound very strange to your ears. There's a reason for that. I will get into why, but when you hear me read them out, just don't go, oh my god, he's butchering how that's supposed to be said. That is it. I might even spell them out just to make life easier. So yeah, that's I-B-O-N-G-N-O-B, an instant hit of melancholic beauty. It is an ethereal track, the vocals drifting like clouds over the sky that is grounded by a muted drum beat and an increasing urgency. One that builds over the track's near 6-minute runtime, making the beauty of the melody sound even darker. Now, such a tasty start does need something to freshen up the palate, and with, right, this is what I was talking about, with 2 in Gurum imis noctum arum et consumnia igni. See what I mean? The Mountain King gives us a mouthful of avant-garde black metal. The tone shift here would be jarring if this was anyone else but the Mountain King. The colder and harsher sound fits neatly around the unusual melodies and sense of confusion that this track brings. Ignore the insane track title, as I said, it'll make sense soon. It's just an incredible hit of black metal. Following that though, 3, WalloW is a methodical doom and full confused gaze into the darkness. One that feels like you're sinking into a pit of despair, whereas 4, Sophius has a similar doom vibe, but is a much more potent piece of music as it transitions into harsher black metal soundscapes. Both tracks continuing to shun traditions and expectations as the Mountain King balances what is absorbing musical imagination with palatable reality. You can hear how insane this music is, but you can take it in. You can experience and enjoy. You're not left sitting there going, what the hell is going on? 5, DNA Sand might take the crown for the most unusual track in the album though, as the collusion of effects and sounds creates something with very deep and uncomfortable atmosphere. So, I said I'd talk about it, here it is. At this point, it must be pointed out that what makes WalloW such a unique album is that it's a palindrome. Now, palindrome is obviously a word that when read forward or backwards is exactly the same. That is this album. Not just the title of the album or the track title, see, but the music itself. We now start to work our way through the tracks, but in opposite direction. I know, insane, right? Bloody hell. Starting with Sophos 6 now, because it's backwards, hitting WalloW 3, then Ingri Ruminosik, Te Mara Metcon Sumi Maragnal 2, there we go, backwards again, and finally Bongnob I or 1. All playing out in mirror fashion. This is an idea that generally shouldn't work, but this is the Mountain King. What we get are 4 fascinating, discombobulating and captivating pieces of music. Ones that actually sound really fresh, offer an incredibly unique take, and obviously a truly imaginative structure. Basically, do not be surprised if you find yourself mouth agape. In my case, once again, if you've heard and loved The Smell of Stars and Vomit Volume 2, probably you too. It's not hyperbole to suggest that there's nobody out there quite like the Mountain King. Once again, they've delivered an Album of the Year contender on WalloW, and chances are, months down the line, as we go through 2022, this album will hold as much potency as it did the first time it was heard. It is very unusual. It is very, very unique. It is very clever. It is very mind-blowing. Even if the idea of it puts you off, just check it out once. I suspect just with one listen, you'll be intrigued and excited and thrilled enough to then continue to give it more goes over and again, because it certainly does need that. It does not. It needs more than just a one-time listen, because there's so much going on. And I get the idea of the tracks being played backwards probably makes you go, well, that's going to sound horrible. The talent of the Mountain King, trust me, it creates it's the second half of an album that feels as fresh as the first half. You've got to check this one out. WalloW, it's out on February 22nd via Cursed Monk Records. You know what to do. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhblofficial as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?